The very best loan you can get is a loan that charges you zero interest. Remember those days when the car companies were saying, listen, if you got good credit, we'll give you this car at 0% interest? Remember those days when you could get a 0% interest? Oh my gosh. So if we can't get 0% interest to pay no interest, the next best loan is to pay the least amount of interest you possibly can pay, no matter what your interest rate is. Then why are the financial experts only talking about how fast to pay off principal? You know, I heard a guy just on TV not too long ago saying, you know what, watch your spending at Christmas time or whatever, and you need to pay off those high interest credit cards first. Okay, you need to pay off those high interest credit cards first. Okay, let me show you something here. I'm going to put something else on the screen. We're going back to the screen. We're going to go back to the screen and we're going to debunk that right now about high interest credit cards and what they're doing to us, as opposed to looking at anything else we're doing. So we're going to go here, $400,000, and we're going to do 6% interest. So what most people think is high, but actually 6% is actually normalized. We just got used to ridiculously low interest rates. Okay. But these are normalized interest rates. Let me show you something at $400,000 at 6%. You know, in some places, $400,000 house, especially around here, can get you what? 2 or 3 bedrooms and 2 baths? Get you a house for that? But guess what? That payment is going to be $2,398, $2,398.20. Do you know the rent on an apartment of the same size, the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms, is more than that? It's closer to $3,000. So buying a house is still cheaper, even at 6%. Don't let the interest rate fool you. Do the math, find out what the payment will be, and then compare it to the rent to rent the same size house. You're still better off. All right, do the math, folks. Don't have a knee-jerk reaction because somebody on the news says that interest rates are high. Do the math for yourself and say, yeah, they're higher, but my payment is still lower than my rent. Oh man, I just have such a good time talking about this. But Jared, can we do a reset of the room while I get a drink of water?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Coffee, if you could just introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. I want to forfeit my introduction to ask Don a question about the high interest credit card. Would you advise against refinancing your home and rolling those cards into the mortgage to save on that interest and attempt to paying those cards off? Or how would you tackle that if you have high interest credit cards and you have equity in your property and you want to get rid of that level of interest to start paying those down?
Coffee, that is an excellent question, because people are faced with that every day. And that's one of the reasons why they refinance. Some people are paying like 21%, 25%, 27%, even 29% on their credit cards. And they have several of those cards. And so what they're doing is that they're rolling those high interest rate loans into their mortgage because they can get that mortgage at 5 or 6% now instead of the 20 or 27% on the credit cards. Okay, so let's talk about that for just a second. But I want to show you something we need. I'm going to give you just a little background on that first, Coffee, if I may, and then I will go into the refinance portion. So here's what we're talking about, folks. Here's what you need to know about what we're doing here is we're going to show the difference between what we're looking at interest rate instead of interest cost. And if we look at interest rate, we're going to make a mistake instead of looking at interest cost. So we've got a $400,000 mortgage at 6%. Okay. And we're going to take a look at the interest only payment on this. So the very first interest payment on this loan is $2,000. $2,000. So if we take a look at this now, if we prepay $400, okay, on this loan, I can save $1,998 and a penny. If I pay off $400 early, I can save nearly $2,000 interest on this mortgage. All right. So watch this. Watch this, folks. I'm going to put on a credit card of $10,000 at 21%. Watch this. I need to show you something. At 21%, $10,000. Look how much interest is on this. The very first payment, look at this. I'm scrolling down. I'm going to highlight it. What? $175. So if I paid this loan off today, if I paid the credit card off today, the most money I could save in interest is $175. What? But on the mortgage, if I prepay just $400, I can kill nearly $2,000 in interest because I'm looking at interest cost instead of just interest rate. Wow, wow, wow. All right. I hope you're getting what I'm talking about here. $400 saves us nearly $2,000 in interest, but by paying off this credit card at 21%, this is what the experts are teaching you. Pay off these high interest credit cards first. But the interest is only $175 compared to my $2,000 interest on my mortgage. Ladies and gentlemen, please, please, please tell me you understand why the guy in Tennessee is not looking at your interest cost when he's telling you to pay off your credit cards and leave your mortgage to last. There's a way to do it. This is not the way that he says. You do not want to do it in the wrong sequence. And while you're paying off that credit card to save that $175, you're paying tons of interest to your mortgage. Let me show you one other thing. Let's say we pay the $10,000 off today. Save the $175 in interest that the bank wanted to charge us. But let's go back to this mortgage, $400,000 at my 6% interest rate. All right. And what if I put the $10,000 on my mortgage instead to prepay that? Let me put $10,000 on my mortgage. I want to show you something here. Line 24. And it says right now, if I prepay $10,127, I'm going to knock off 24 payments on my mortgage. Folks, that's 2 years. That's 2 years worth of mortgage payments with the same $10,000 that the guy in Tennessee says, I need to go ahead and pay off that 21% credit card. Oh, wait a second. He says, well, that's 21%, Don. I'm talking about the credit card that actually went to 30%. Oh, well, let's change it. Do you know all credit cards are amortized for 240 months? So when you're doing this calculation for yourself, the credit cards, the amortization, the number of payments that they use is 240. Let's change it to 30%. Now the credit card is 30%. Let's see what the interest payment is now on the credit card. Oh, it did jump up to 250. So if I pay off that $10,000 today, even at 30%, I'm going to save $250 in interest. Look at that. I'm showing it to you right now on YouTube, $250 in interest. But Lord have mercy. If I put that $10,000 on this mortgage, I'm going to kill 24 payments on my mortgage. I'm going to save $47,000 in interest on my mortgage with the same $10,000 payment. Why are the financial gurus leading us down this path so that we can get the good feelings of paying off a debt? Listen, folks, it's more than about good feelings. It's about good financial sense. Is anybody else doing the math? Is anybody else seeing this besides me? So here's what I want you to do, folks. Do the math. And get with somebody who's going to advocate for you. We here at the P.I.L.L Method have an entire staff of people working for you every week of every month of every year, making sure you pay the least amount of interest possible. We got an email not too long ago from a client that says, thank you, Don, for showing us how to pay off $310,000 worth of debt in 3.6 years. 3.6 years. That's what we're talking about, folks. 3.6 years because we're showing them how not to pay all of that interest. And you can do it too.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.